How are you today?
I'm good.
Yeah,
Pretty good, yeah. It's
yeah.
regular Tuesday, I guess.
What's a regular Tuesday to you?
Now just being at work, um, getting my child from kindergarten, making dinner, watching Last of Us. I don't know. Pretty
Okay, are
pretty
you
good.
are you up are you up to date with The Last of Us?
No, I'm actually not. I just started the season two. I played
Oh,
season one though earlier, but and I watched season one earlier, but I started season two yesterday.
no spoilers then. Okay, we'll
Oh,
move on from
thanks.
that. Going to the band specifically, what's currently kind of keeping you busy right now as it pertains to band stuff? Is there anything?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of interviews, and we're having some band practices and stuff. We're going to play in Portugal in June, 1 week after the release of the album. So kind of focusing on that and rehearsing some new tracks as well. And we're also looking into starting writing of the third record as well.
Wow. Okay. Of course, you are an artist. You are a musician. I'd be very surprised if writing wasn't constantly happening in some way or another.
Uh,
Particularly at this stage. I mean, going to the rehearsing the new tracks. How's it going? How are you finding the sounding in that kind of environment? Are you being quite particular about what tracks you're planning to sort of debut live?
Yeah, I mean that it was a bit of a hard one because all the gigs we've been playing, we have been able to play, except for one though, and that was in UK. But all the other gigs, we've had the opportunity to play the whole first album from start to finish because that's about 60 minutes. Uh, and it was actually quite hard now for this first gig, yeah, after the second album is out because we were like, had to kill some darlings from the first record because we obviously have to play some new ones. But there's also some tracks from the first album we can't skip. Um, but I think we've come to something that works. And
Okay.
we'll rehearse in some more new stuff later. And maybe we have some longer gigs we can have. Yeah,
Well,
we'll see.
naturally, right? I guess as time goes by, you'll get an idea of what songs are really working live, which ones maybe aren't, and then you can kind of adapt, right?
Yeah, kind of. And what's fun to play. We're mainly doing this for ourselves and no one else. But we're happy that people like it and come to the show. Anyways,
I I completely understand. Obviously, album cycle is a long process, a lot to do as you're working your way towards the release of a new record. On this particular album cycle, has there been anything particularly fun that you've really enjoyed this time around?
I mean, we've included the band members a bit more than on the first record. I mean, we are a band, but we're mainly two guys like cooking up the main ingredients
Hmm.
for the soup at first. Uh, but we included the others a bit more, and they've played more stuff on the record itself and made their own parts. Great people and great musicians. For this time, we played and we made all the tracks and recorded almost everything at the same cabin as we did last album. Except for this time, we went to a really beautiful studio called Ocean Sound Studios, Ocean Sound Recordings, which is in on an island outside of Ålesund in Norway, which have this magnificent scenery. When you're inside the studio and you look out, you only see the ocean.
Really?
So it's pretty nice scenic views and you live in the studio. So there's like the second floor is bedrooms and first floor
Okay.
is kitchen, control room, and the main recording studio. So when you're there, you can use the studio 24/7. There's as long as you don't need an engineer, but that's my job usually. So that was really nice to just be able to record drums both day and night and whenever we wanted to. And they have a great jacuzzi there as well at the tip. And we recorded it in uh, it was, can't remember exactly when, but it was freezing cold outside and lots of snow. So we had to run out almost naked. It's probably like 50 meters from the door till the jacuzzi. That was nice, hanging out there.
Seems like you've got some fabulous memories from that. It almost sounds like a holiday, even though you're there to obviously do some serious work. It
Yeah,
still sounds like you enjoyed it.
that's exactly it, you know, because that's why Martin and I started this band, uh, because we wanted to kind of have holiday together. We live a couple of hours apart, and we're both you know, families, and we're busy doing other stuff usually. And so like it's 4 years ago or something, we had to have an excuse to hang out more, and then we started doing this weekend holidays where we happen to make music also.
And here you are, 1 month away from the release of your brand new album, Waving at the Sky, June 13th via Inside Out Music. So the mindset in the band overall right now, when we are close, we've still got some weeks to go, but we're closer than we've ever been to its release. What are you feeling right now? Are you excited? Are you nervous? Or are you anxious just to get it out?
I mean, we're really excited. I think that, and we all think that this album is a bit more us. It's a bit more original, a bit more mature, and I think that for the people who liked our previous album, they will probably like this even more.
Hmm.
At least we hope so. Um, so we're generally just excited, really.
Glad to hear it. I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear it. Because to talk about Waving at the Sky, we have to first mention the first album, of course, your debut album from 2 years ago, the Approbation. An incredible record that connected to a ton of people. And considering how lauded that release was, it allowed you to go touring, allowed you to do so much. It really got your name out there. Considering all of that, how did you, following the release of the debut album, how did you keep your feet on the ground? Because there was so much going on that it must have been quite overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, we were, as I said, we needed an excuse to hang out and just have whole day together, and we didn't even plan to release those tracks at all.
Hmm.
And then we ended up signing to our favorite label, Inside Out, and it- just that was overwhelming, you know. And then for people to actually like it as well, and for us to have the opportunity to go and play it live, it just been so good. And I mean, we try to not focus on getting like um, too what you say. For the second album, we try to not think about, I mean, what others thought about us, and try to not have any pressure
Hmm.
for the writing process. So we kind of stuck to the same thing, going on this weekend tours to the cabin, just drinking beer and hanging out and making music at the same time.
It must have
Uh,
been a little challenging though, right? Because try as you might to ignore the voices, what people are saying about your music, that the debut album, some of it is going to get through, right? Some of it is going to come through to you. So how did you both manage to kind of stay focused on what you like to do?
I mean, that's the thing about going to this cabin of ours, because when we're there, we're like 4 hours away from where we live. There's no one around the cabin because it's so isolated. Uh, and we kind of put away the phones, and we just set up all the studio equipment, and we just make everything right there and then in the moment. So we're not thinking about anything
Yeah.
else at all, except for getting another beer and putting some wood in the oven, you know, the stove. So
And that is really wonderful to hear. It's so difficult in the modern days to be able to put things down and focus on interaction like that. So the
Uh,
fact that you're able to do that, well, you're blessed, you're lucky, and long may that continue, I guess, as you continue to make music going forward.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Oh, okay. So following the debut record, how soon afterwards did you start to think about writing for a new record? And if it wasn't necessarily thinking about it, because writing is just a constant thing for you, at what point did you start to see the skeleton of an album coming together?
We actually started going back to the cabin to start writing for the second album before the Approbation was even released,
Mm.
actually. So and then we did like 5 trips or 6 trips in 2024 to cabin, and then we had a longer weekend at the Ocean Sound recording the drums. Um, but we're kind of while we're at the cabin, we try to make everything there, and then so if something puts us off a bit or it doesn't feel right, we kind of like throw it away
Yeah.
straight away and just keep going. Um, because we're the cabin is called like the magic cabin. Some people call it because it's something weird happening when we're there. We could go a whole weekend without talking to each other. We just make music, and it's really it's weird, but it's magic in some ways.
It's your environment, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
it's an integral part to who you are and the band itself.
probably. Yeah.
Looking at the vision for this new album, did you always plan for it to be connected conceptually to the debut record?
No, we didn't.
Mhm.
Um, so for the first album, because we wrote it in COVID, we kind of portrayed this man being alone in this cabin and kind of going insane with his own thoughts
Mhm.
um, and life. And for the second album, I'll try to not be too explicit, but the second album is about or is based upon inspired by actual events that happened in a small town in Norway like 10, 15 years ago, um, where two different families who abused their children happened to move to the same place and being neighbors, and they started to swap children as well, which is a gruesome story. It's
Mhm.
really really dark. Um, and when this happened, Martin and I were so young that we couldn't like grasp the some of it at all, I think.
Mm.
But now we've gotten, or since the last album as well, we've gotten each our own daughter. And for some reason, this case popped up for us. So each of the weekend trips we took to the cabin, we listened to audiobooks because some of the victims of this case have written books. So we kind of took a dig a bit deep into
Mm.
the stories and everything that happened, and we that was the only thing that inspired us to write this album and the only thing that we listened to was text and I mean the books
Mm.
and all the details in the books. So we tried to focus a bit on that, and then we narrowed it down a bit and focused on one of the victims, which is one of the girls, and mainly her stepdad, which the Malevolent single with Ross Jennings is about.
Mm.
Um, and then at some point, because we wrote all this at the cabin and we were so in it, we kind of saw this red line that this story is actually kind of a prequel to the last album because the stepdad ends up just going away and kind of isolates himself and yeah. So that's how it got linked up together. It's a bit random,
Incredible.
but felt like it was meant to be all the time. It's just we didn't see it at first.
Yeah, isn't that incredible in itself that as you kind of as you're working on creating the music and digging, going into a deep dark places with what you're studying or what you're learning via the horrific cases
Mm.
that you talked about, and then how it would end up linking in a way to your story from the first album, of course. But
Yeah.
obviously, doing that, thinking about that, and focusing on this being the idea is one thing, expressing it is another. Talk to me about some of the difficulties you had expressing what you wanted to on this record, considering how horrible the real case is.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't want to be too explicit, or I mean, you understand everything by reading the lyrics or listening to it, but the books are really like when we listen to them, we had to stop the car at some points and just turn it off because it's extremely detailed
Hmm.
in a really bad way. It's good written and told, but it's gruesome. So
Yeah.
we had to sit down and kind of yeah, think a little about what we could bring into our story and how we
Mhm.
should tell it. And I mean, we're not telling an exact story. We're it's mainly based upon that or inspired by it, but
Yeah.
so we're not trying to tell someone else's story. Um, but I mean, it was kind of difficult, but at the same time, because we only did this when we went to the cabin, we tried to not think about it when we weren't there. So it was
Mm.
only like every 4 week or something. So yeah,
So you had those moments of detachment when you were able to leave and focus on other things, your life, your family, and all the things around it. So it wasn't, oh,
yeah,
you weren't stuck in a dark place.
no. Try to combine that in
Mm.
the best way possible. Yeah.
So going to sort of the songwriting aspect of things, earlier you said you think this is more you. This album is more you. It's more what you want, what I guess what you want to sound like. What do you mean by that when we go from a songwriting writing perspective? So your vision, in particularly around creating the music, what was different this time that made you feel like this portrays you more?
I think the thing about the first album, because we even didn't plan to release it, we wrote those tracks, and we only wrote those exact tracks that's on the first album. We didn't write anything else. It's only those tracks. And we wrote those tracks while hanging out and just for fun, you know. It was only the first things that popped into our heads and what was on top of our minds, basically. Uh, and we both grew up with our dads being best friends and playing in a progressive rock band as well.
Yep.
And we didn't plan to play progressive music at all, me and Martin, but it's probably in our blood and our veins because of our dads. And and it just happened to turn out that way. But when we started writing Waving at the Sky, we had kind of used up all the on top of our head material, you know. So we had to dig a bit deeper into ourselves and into our minds, and also the creative side. Try to find something that was a bit more us. I mean, the record still sounds like Orchest and still sounds like it's Redline with the first album as well, but in some ways it just sounds a bit more us, at
Mm.
least to us.
No, I completely understand what you
Yeah.
mean. And for me, a major part of it is I can hear and understand the development of just 2 years, the clear progression from debut to now. What you've learned as well in that period of time,
Mm.
whether it be just from playing live more, or just general life experience, it's clear in this album.
That's good. Do you like it?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? But I love the debut as well. So this
Okay.
this
Thank
is
you.
even better.
Okay, you think that's great.
I'm super confident that it's going to be as beloved as the debut as well, if not more, particularly once it gets out there and more people experience. Because, of course, it is an album you need to spend time with. It's not a one
Yeah.
listen only album. You spend time
No, no, no.
6 months, a year down the line. That's really when you get to understand people's opinion on it, I think, more than anything else. And, of course, seeing you live is a very important part of that.
Yeah,
So that will
definitely.
be cool. Um, what was particularly then exciting about working on this record for you? Um, Perhaps more than the first album this time.
I mean, just the thought of me and Martin going to the cabin is like one of the highlights in life in general. Not that our life isn't great,
Mm,
anyways, but those trips are just. I mean, we both
magical.
at the place where I have the cabin. Martin also has a cabin, his family,
Mm.
in the same small town. Um, that cabin doesn't have power, so we can't go there because then we can't record anything.
Of
So we
course.
use my family's cabin, but we have this nostalgic things tied to the cabin as well, and the small town itself, and it's just something magic with everything that surrounds it. And the cabin is at this kind of a farm, and the only thing you can see when you look outside is are just tall mountains and trees. Is really really soothing to be there.
Mm.
And at night we usually open the door and just go out on the patio and just stay quiet, and because there's so little light pollution, there's the stars are so clear and
Wow.
it's pitch black, and it's so quiet, and the only sounds you actually hear is the sound of the train doing the sound horns because they have to
Mm.
scare away elks and stuff, sometimes that's the only thing you hear, and some wind, of course, but
You make it sound absolutely stunning. You really, really do. And I'm trying to envision it in my head. Is it a guarantee that every time you do go, so for example, next time you go, that something will be written, even if it's not, say, it's substantial, something will happen nonetheless?
yeah, 100%. It's really weird, but I mean, maybe at some point it stops. I don't know. We haven't come there, so
Mm.
I don't know. But for my job and what I do in my daily life, I I think that you have like somewhat maybe 100 hours of being creative at home where you live,
Mm.
and at some point you need to get out of your home. Uh, so it might be that the cabin has this limit as well, but we haven't reached it anyways for now.
Yeah, absolutely. And fingers crossed you never ever do, because considering what it creates and what this resulted in today, oh my God, I love the idea of 10 years down the line, we are having another conversation about another album
Yeah,
and it still
still at the
exists.
cabin. Hope so.
If you were to sum up what you think Waving at the Sky says about you, the band in general, what do you think it says?
I think it says, or that's quite a difficult question,
Mm.
but maybe I would say that like musically, it's kind of broad. I think you can hear some pop elements as well as death metal elements, and you have this a bit more classic rock stuff and a bit more classic metal stuff, but it's progressive as well. And I think it's I don't know what it would tell about us, but um, that's a hard question actually.
Oh yes, absolutely. I want you to define yourself
uh,
in a way as well. It's not, you will always have your own opinion on your own music, of
no,
course. It's
no,
going to be
no.
what others have as well. For me, I'll sum it up as it's progression. Not
Yeah,
just progressive music, it's progression for you as a band. That's
yeah.
exciting enough.
We matured a bit, and gotten a bit older as well, and I think that kind of reflects in the music. And also story-wise, because we got our own kids, which we
Mm.
didn't have last time, and I think yeah, it's just a new depth of and perspective on life. I think I hope people think it sounds a bit more mature and yeah, that it has progressed from the last album, which at least you think. That's great.
I, I'm very confident many others will think the same as well. It is an incredible release. We haven't got too long to wait for it to be fully out there and then understand and hear what people think about it. But on release day, how will you be celebrating?
We actually tried to gather all the guys together, but everyone is actually playing other gigs except for Martin and I. So I'm going to Martin, and we're going to pop a bottle of really nice champagne, which we do when we release a new album.
Hmm.
And then we're going to really good Indian restaurants. We actually have this planned because I talked to him earlier today. And then we're going back to his house and probably will get drunk and listen to the album on vinyl on repeat until we're going to bed.
Full of champagne, full of Indian food, and enjoying the album. What a wonderful way to spend the day. It is June 13th by Inside Out Music, waving at the sky. Simon, it's been a pleasure to spend this time with you. Thank you so much for speaking with me.
Likewise, Carl. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.